a biblical perspective on life, culture, and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
Welcome back to 2020. Well, an insight today into the murky, overly sexualized online world that so easily affects our youth and young adults. Our special guest today is Victoria Sinis, and she was a young entrepreneur who found herself using her skills and talents to help an OnlyFans recruitment agency get started. Part of her role involved online marketing and the recruitment of girls and young women to use this platform. And it's a user pay subscription platform that gives subscribers access to sexualized and sometimes even pornographic material. At the end of last year, there were 220 million paying OnlyFans subscribers around the world and 3 million content creators who are being paid to create this content. And OnlyFans has been criticized for not preventing the distribution of child pornography on its platform. However, Victoria had a radical encounter with Jesus, and she turned away from the industry and now speaks out to warn parents and children alike of the dangers of online platforms like OnlyFans because of the obvious detrimental effects it has on young minds and young souls. Victoria is now the founder of Creating Gems, which is an organisation that focuses on helping women overcome society's expectations and advocates against sexual exploitation. And it's our great pleasure to welcome Victoria all the way from Melbourne today. Victoria, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Victoria, I suspect I mispronounced your name. Is it Sinis or Sinis? How do we say your name?
No, Sinis. Perfect.
I nailed it. There you go. I was doubting myself. Now, Victoria, many of our listeners, including our producer today, who said to me, "What is OnlyFans?" have never heard of OnlyFans. So can you just give us a brief snapshot of what OnlyFans is, please?
Absolutely. So OnlyFans was a platform that was actually created back in 2016. And the original, design of OnlyFans was to be a more like a decentralized ecosystem for people. So just say if I loved to be able to cook and I wanted to build a community of people that were interested in cooking, I could put my videos up there, I could post recipes, but the whole allure of it is that it was locked content that you would have to pay for, but then you could also have a one-on-one conversation with me. So you could be like, hey, I did this and my recipe didn't work, and we could communicate back and forth. So that was the whole original idea of OnlyFans. And so it sounds great in theory, but what OnlyFans allowed is this thing called not safe for work content. Not safe for work content means porn. So basically it means that you could post anything and everything on this. And again, the allure is have a one-on-one conversation. So this now decentralized mainstream pornography and meant that the everyday person, in quotation marks, was able to basically set up a porn account. So in 2020, when COVID hit, this blew up because a lot of people are like, how do I make money? What do I do? All of the things. I'll just jump on OnlyFans and make some money. So now we've seen this massive phenomenon of basically everyday people jumping onto OnlyFans, as you said, 300 million or
220 million at the end of last year subscribers.
Yeah, subscribers and then actual content creators as well. And 98% of the content on OnlyFans is porn. So a lot of people have this misconception, if they've even heard of it, of what they think it is. But what people aren't understanding is this is the new era of how people can access porn and distribute porn. And as mentioned, a lot of young children either idolize OnlyFans or the access to either sign up to view it or to create content on it. Is just at a rate that we've never seen porn be exposed before. So that's kind of a brief summary of what OnlyFans is.
Yeah, I mean, 220 million people worldwide, that's almost the population of America, people who are paying, like you said, and maybe it was started with good intentions. We don't know. Maybe the people who actually, created them, produced this platform, thought that it was going to make the world a better place, like the internet. I mean, the internet as a concept is a great concept, but again, the amount of filth and pornography and violence and stuff that's circulated through the internet now, you've got to wonder, would the world be better without the internet? But the reality is we have it, it's here, and we have to deal with these things. But Victoria, you were a young girl, you're an Aussie woman, you obviously believe in feminism when you were young, and you believed in women being empowered and having equal opportunity. What was your feeling like when you first got asked to do this role in OnlyFans? Did you know anything about it?
Well, that's the thing. I, again, kind of had succumbed to this soft pressure and this soft that we have from social media. So when I was approached to help build this OnlyFans agency, it was actually a close personal friend of mine who had asked me. Now, I didn't have much knowledge on OnlyFans like a lot of people. I guess it's the whispers of, I hear you can sell your feet on there. I think this is a positive, like women's liberation, go team. And there was people in my world who were doing OnlyFans. And on the surface level, it looked like they were happy. It seemed like they made a lot of money. So from a limited education, I made this decision to say, okay, all of these variables seem like this is a positive, and it seems like this would be, I guess, a good choice to make because, again, people in my world were saying it was okay. And from the limited knowledge I had, this seemed like a positive thing.
Yeah. Do you think it seems positive to the producers of the content, the girls who are making these films, because they're doing it on their terms, maybe in their homes or in a studio or somewhere where they want to be? There's no people near them in a physical sense. And do you think they feel safe and fairly invulnerable to anything negative while they're producing this content? Do you think that's why they get sucked into it?
I think that there's two reasons as to why. There is this whole argument of, I guess, is this seen as ethical porn? But the definition of human trafficking, the US definition, has this word coercion in it. And so being coerced into doing something actually constitute for human trafficking. So a lot of these women think that this is liberating, that they're safe, that they're in control, they have the autonomy to choose what they want to do. But what you're not understanding is you're actually being coerced by agencies, by subscribers, and actually by our culture into thinking this is okay. So I think a lot of women are actually very deceived into thinking that, again, this is a good career path. I can make a lot of money doing this. This is liberating. But then when they actually jump on and they see, wait a minute, I have to do sexual acts. I get these things called custom requests where subscribers ask for really twisted and sick things. But there's a pressure to do so. But wait a minute, the world tells me this is all that I'm good for. Hold on. So you can see that it's like this real, almost complex situation that these women are kind of put into to think that this is a positive.
And of course, you got the money too. I mean, at the end of the day, they're getting paid for playing on their phones and creating videos, whereas most of us mugs just do things on social media like Insta and Facebook, and we don't get paid for it. So obviously, the money is a draw card too, isn't it?
It is, but it's all an illusion as well. So I actually go into schools and I ask the girls, do you think that you'll be rich if you do OnlyFans? And everyone, not even just teenagers, adults as well, think, yeah, of course. But the average wage of an OnlyFans creator is actually $180 a month. So a lot of people think that you're going to jump onto this platform, make a bunch of money, but the reality of it is you actually don't. And the percentage of people that do make a lot of money is actually a really small percentage.
Yeah, okay, so there's more deception there as well. But Victoria, again, when you first started this role, you weren't a believer then, but what was it doing to your soul, just witnessing all of this and just seeing this exploitation of women and seeing these perverted subscribers asking for these really weird things? What was happening on the inside of Victoria when you were a part of that industry?
Yeah, so for me, I've actually never even been exposed to pornography. So I'm actually seeing porn for the first time. And it's people that I know, these people that I'm building relationships with. And then I'm seeing the acts that they're doing while simultaneously being exposed to porn. So for me, it was like this slap in the face of like, oh, this is weird. And I was like, I know these girls. These girls are really funny. They actually have beautiful hearts. They're really generous. They're really kind. And I'm like, it was really twisting, I guess, my heart. And, it got to a point where I couldn't open up my laptop. I couldn't do the work anymore. I'm getting so distraught every single day. But I asked questions and people were telling me this is normal, this is liberating. We give people a safe place to do porn. So it was this real torment inside of me of this feels wrong. This seems like this isn't normal. But again, my world was telling me that I was the weird one for thinking that way.
Yeah, wow. And did you have any sort of Christian background, Victoria, or something that made you have a conscience like that? Or do you think that was just God's grace to you?
I think it's both and. So it definitely was just the Lord's kindness. But my family, I remember growing up going to church when I was little, but I think we stopped going, honestly, I would have been maybe 10. And there was nothing reflective in my home life in any capacity of faith. And obviously, I had not walked with the Lord in any way, shape, or form growing up.
Yeah, wow, okay, and it just was God's grace. But let's talk about when you were marketing and when you were trying to identify young girls to go onto this platform. How did you do that? Like, what's happening on Instagram right now, for example? Just so there's mums listening right now who've got teenage daughters. How do people in this industry target young girls to get involved?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things is using TikTok and Instagram to be able to promote these girls. So my job was to make women basically as viral as possible. And so the whole point of that is two elements. Number one is you want subscribers. So the more viral you make a girl with very provocative and suggestive videos that are very curated. So we would manipulate algorithms to make girls go viral. So one girl that we had doing our methods for 7 days got to 2.2 million views on one of her TikToks. So you can understand the magnitude of how softly influenced we are being in our culture with very sexualized, provocative content. So what does that do? Well, it makes young boys go, oh, look, she's done this. I wonder if there's more. And so then you actually get put into a funneling system. So you might go from TikTok to Instagram, from Instagram to the link tree, from the link tree. Oh, the OnlyFans link is just there. So you can see how simple it is for people to fall into these funneling systems. So that's element number one, is to actually influence people to come to OnlyFans, specifically men and specifically young men, to get them hooked onto pornography.
Okay, so we'll stop there. So you were targeting young males on social media platforms to get them to become subscribers to OnlyFans. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, but yeah, tell me about how did you actually find the girls to actually work on OnlyFans? Was that part of your role too, or did they just come to you organically?
Okay, yep. So that's the other element, which is recruitment. So recruitment, I guess, goes kind of hand in hand with marketing. But again, if you're making these girls as viral as possible in our world, to be liked, loved, and rewarded and respected is through likes, through followers and everything. So if we're manipulating algorithms to get girls really famous, this is telling young women, oh, I have to be this way to be liked, loved, and rewarded. So again, you're influencing them in that way. But then to specifically recruit the girls, you cold message them. So we would cold message girls from the agency account and basically say, hey, we've seen your social media profile. We think that you have a really, nice vibe. Have you ever thought about doing OnlyFans? And people think that that doesn't work. But to be honest with you, we had a massive success rate. I think almost every person we would message would be interested in doing OnlyFans or was already doing OnlyFans. So there's that element. And then for mums listening, some of the top searched porn categories is teen, fresh teen, and barely legal. So we know and understand, as I guess the pornography industry, the younger the better. So of course you're also looking for women that look young. And if they're either 18, fresh 18, or if they're a little bit older, would they lie and say that they're that young? So again, you can kind of see that young women is very specifically targeted for this industry.
Yeah, it's a really scary world out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so when you were targeting these girls, were you looking at Instagram pages and just looking at girls who looked a little bit promiscuous maybe? There was bikini shots or things like that. Is that who you were targeting from the agency messaging service?
Yeah, so that's the most, I guess, critical component of this is the girl already posting provocative content? Because if she is, that means, again, she's more likely to do OnlyFans or has an OnlyFans.
Yeah, so that is a big warning to parents, isn't it? That just watch what your teenage girls are posting because people are out there like the former OnlyFans recruitment agency worker Victoria here. They're looking at content, and sometimes, especially young girls, Victoria, I've got 2 daughters. I mean, they can just think it's just a photo, Dad. It's just me, at the beach with my friends. What's the big deal here? Not that my girls do it, but I can imagine them having that mental argument. Like, what's the big deal here? It's just a photo of me with my friends at the beach. But people don't realize, do they, that there are predators out there trying to suck them into this horrible, horrible industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you go to schools, Victoria, what is one of your key messages? Are you warning girls away from getting involved in this, or are you just speaking out against online sexualized material in general? Like, what is your core message when you go to a school?
Yeah, my biggest heart that I have is 2 things, is to get girls to understand what soft influence is. Because again, if you're not aware that you're being manipulated, you can't act on it. So education and equipping. So to say, this is what happens. We manipulate algorithms. These girls that you follow, majority of them, aren't just famous because they're being rewarded for being half naked. There's potentially an agency behind them that's working to make sure they get viral. And so just really getting them to understand how manipulated they are being through social media. So then they have the eyes to be able to actually identify this now. So then the next time they see that girl that they follow that's posting sexualized content, they can go, oh, wait a minute, I don't think I have to be like that. I understand now that maybe there's an agency that's influencing them to do that. So that's really important for me, is getting them to understand this word soft influence. And then from there, now that we can identify that, how can we be countercultural? And what does it mean to be countercultural? And so that comes with, I guess, empowering the girls. What is your true identity? Who were you born to be? I love to do your pillars. So again, we're only rewarded for how cute we are or how hot we are. So with in the space of the year level and your friends and whatever, how can we champion a countercultural message in us? Are you really kind? Do you have great family values? What is inside of you that God has placed to show your truest essence? From there, you can be countercultural in going, wait a minute, I know my value. So even I don't have to send that naked picture to that boy. I know my value. I don't need to post a provocative picture. And that's actually being countercultural. So they're kind of the really main things that I try to educate and champion in our girls. So then they can make the changes themselves.
And what's the response like? Are young girls really resonating with your message and responding well, or are some dismissing it and saying, oh, I don't need to worry about this, I'm fine?
It's really beautiful. I think that it's a breath of fresh air because, again, our young girls, they are the only thing that they have in this world is how hot are you? How sexual can you be? How can you perform for a guy? And so coming in and saying, you don't have to be that way. You know that you can say no if a boy asks you for a naked picture. Do you know that you are worth more than that? It's like a relief for them. And it's so beautiful. Like last week or the week before, even little things like I had a girl, 16, say, and I go to all religious schools. I only go to Christian schools. So this isn't a secular problem. This is happening inside the church. And I had this 16-year-old girl ask me, every time I go to a party, there's a boy that I kiss and I want to set a boundary with him because I don't want to do any more. How do I do that? And so you can see from listening to the message, she goes, wait a minute, I'm worth more than that. I don't want to go. And so this might seem silly to parents, but it's like, wait a minute, we've just mitigated a girl from potentially having sex with a boy that she didn't want to, because now she understands that she has a value that's more than how hot she is. And now she wants to implement boundaries in her life. So I love that the girls are really receptive, and it seems like they want someone to tell them that they don't have to be these sexual beings to be liked and loved.
Yeah, what a great message. It is refreshing, Victoria. It is a breath of fresh air, and I'm so glad God is raising you up. We've got a number of callers who want to ask her questions, and the first one, Victoria, is Brooke. Are you there, Brooke?
Hi there.
How you doing?
Good, thank you. Not really a question. I just wanted to encourage Victoria. It was such a blessing listening to her testimony. Well, not such much her testimony, but definitely what she's been doing, and really encourage her to just stick it in and keep it up because it's brilliant.
Oh, that's really nice, Brooke. Where are you calling from, Brooke?
Tasmania.
Tassie. Brooke, Victoria, have you been down to Tasmania yet, to the schools down there?
Nowhere.
Well, Brooke, I think you need to help Victoria get down to Tasmania. Have you got kids in school yet, Brooke, or are your kids still fairly young?
No, I have 2 teenagers and a toddler, and it is so needed down here. I've never seen the school so bad as Tasmania. We took them out 2 years ago, but you need to come down.
Yeah, so you took your kids out of school and you now homeschool them, do you?
I do, yep.
Yeah, just out of interest, were you aware of OnlyFans and this culture that does exist with young girls being targeted and potentially recruited onto these sites?
No, we are a no-tech savvy family, and we try and keep it that way. My children don't have phones or anything like that because of that reason. And I'd like to encourage parents to also step out of the box and you know what, if your children are getting on the social media and stuff, it's okay to take their phones off them and cut the cords and be a parent.
Yeah, there you go. Victoria, have you got a response for Brooke in Tasmania who just wanted to encourage you and tell you to keep going?
I just want to say thank you so much. That's so kind. I really appreciate it.
No, it's definitely been a blessing listening to what you've been doing, and keep it up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, good on you, Brooke. We really appreciate you calling in, and we're glad you're a Vision listener. Out of interest, how long have you been listening to Vision for?
A couple of years. It's a 2-hour drive to the nearest town, so we do like to listen.
So you listen through the app?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, appreciate your call. We've got other callers as well, but you have a super day, Brooke.
Thank you very much. Bye.
And we also have Dominic. Are you there, Dominic?
Yes, I am.
You got a question or a comment for Victoria today?
Both and. I'm a school principal of a Christian school in South Australia, and to hear someone like Victoria speak with clarity and knowledge and authority on such a topic is fantastic. I want to know, how do I get in touch with Victoria? How do I get her to some South Australian schools, etc.?
Well, you've rung the right place, Dominic. I happen to be Victoria's new agent, and I only charge you a small commission. So what we'll do, I'm only kidding.
Fantastic.
Amazing. So why is school out today? You on holidays down there, are you?
I'm on long service leave at the moment, and I'm starting a new role at a new Christian school in January. Yep.
Excellent. Well, it's funny, during the last break, I actually said to Victoria she needs to come to Queensland as well. So, Victoria, the states are lining up now to invite you down. But out of interest, Dominic, you tell us, what are the challenges you're seeing amongst the teenage population of the schools that you're the principal of in this space, in the online world?
The story that Victoria is telling is kids' lived experience. So young people are pressured, and the description of funneling is a fantastic description. That's exactly what happens to young people. They get on an app, they see some content, they chase that content, they go down the rabbit hole, but then it becomes a contagion amongst that friendship group. So other kids in the same friendship group then get shown the same content and go down the same rabbit hole. The pressure for kids to send nudes to each other, it's become a normalised part of dating. Sending nudes, a nude request is seen by many, many young people as simply a normal part of dating. And it's destroying kids' lives.
Mm.
Yeah. Victoria, have you got a response to that?
Yeah, I just couldn't agree anymore. It's destroying kids' lives. It's wild to have to educate young girls and boys on why sending a naked photo isn't normal, and I guess to answer the question on where you can find me, though, my Instagram is victoria.sinis, Sinis, and then through there you can find my website, and feel free to email me, and we can continue to chat. But yeah, I just couldn't agree more on what Dominic said.
And Dominic, as a school principal, tell us, obviously you're not mentioning names or locations, but tell us some of the worst stories you've seen, how kids' lives have just been ruined through this culture.
I had a young person who had sent content online and ended up fearing that they were being stalked by the person who they sent content to. And this fear became debilitating. And it took a long time to work through all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I heard a story recently that a young man was targeted to, and I think he sent nude pics to a girl, or what was supposedly a girl. Turns out it wasn't a girl. It might have been in America, and it was just one of these gangs based in Russia or somewhere, and they basically said, either you send us money or we're going to distribute this photo, to people all around the world, all your friends and family. And he was basically coerced into, stealing his parents' credit card, and the poor guy committed suicide. It's just an awful, awful story. Like, I mean, you're seeing it. You're on the front line there, Dominic. You're seeing thousands of kids' lives, just happen right in front of your eyes. And I can only imagine, because it's so difficult for teenagers today because of all this technology, isn't it?
It is indeed, they can't go without their devices. You try and teach young people and their parents to put the device on the kitchen counter at the end of the night, and it doesn't go into the phone. The phone doesn't go into the bedroom. That's an almost impossible ask for so many parents. The parents don't feel empowered to take the device off the young person.
Yeah, it's such a challenge. And Victoria, have you got any other things you want to say to Dominic today?
I just want to encourage you, Dominic, as well. I think it's so beautiful to hear a principal that genuinely cares about this issue and understands the reality of what's happening. And I can't imagine how heavy it is on your heart to have to continue to see that day in and day out. So, yeah, I just want to give you a cuddle and say that's amazing and God bless you and keep going.
Last thought, the flip side for schools like ours, we get to teach the kids the gospel every day. We get to invite children to come to Christ and begin that change, and that happens, and it happens all the time, and it's the best.
Yeah, wonderful. And I can hear your heart too, Dominic. I can hear your heart breaking, to be honest, for these kids, and it's quite moving. And what I'm going to do, we're going to go to the national news in about 30 seconds. I don't want you to hang up, okay? We're going to grab your details. I will pass them on to Victoria, free of charge today. It's a Wednesday. It's called Free Wednesday, Victoria. Lucky today. No commission today. But no, and she'll get in touch with you because, like you said, Dominic, I think this is a message that our young people need to hear. We need to provide some hope and some fresh air, some light in this dark tunnel that our kids are in right now, because it's just awful, this online world, and there's so many potential negatives there. But Dominic, out of interest, how long have you been a vision listener for?
5, 6, 7 years, I reckon. It's my morning listen while I'm getting ready for work.
Good on you, mate. Solid. Victoria, the call lines are hotting up. Obviously, what you're saying today is really resonating with people. I did want to really dig deep and hear your testimony, but I always like to respect people's time who've called us. And we've got a number of people waiting here. So we're going to go to the first caller, and his name is Glenn, and he's calling us from Sydney. What part of Sydney are you from, Glenn?
At the moment, I'm sitting in St Ives, Sydney, but I'm actually heading back home towards Parramatta.
Parramatta boy. Hey, do you go for the Eels, mate?
No, Eels? I go for Manly, mate.
You go for Manly? Well, that's countercultural, isn't it? For a Parramatta boy, you must cop a bit.
I grew up in Palm Beach, so it's a bit countercultural, yes. But
Palm Beach, mate. That's a tough part of the world to grow up in, isn't it? Where they filmed Home and Away, wasn't it? At the beginning of the Home and Away scene.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Manly, mate. So I used to walk to Brookie Oval as a kid and watch the Seagulls play many a time. But obviously, you've been listening today, Glenn. What did you want to say to Victoria? Did you want to ask her a question?
I've only heard probably about the last 10 minutes of it, or the last 15 minutes, and I wanted to say, hey, you've got a fantastic story. B, I think I like the way you're approaching it from people's values and making the girls value themselves and make them realise that they're worth it, because like in the scripture, like the two greatest commandments, God says, love the Lord God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. Love your neighbour. And I think the last part of it is love as you love yourself. I think that's a really important thing. The question I had is, I also know that OnlyFans does a lot with teenagers and young men and stuff as well. I just wonder, is the recruiting process and stuff very similar, or is it similar on the gay sort of side of it? Wonder if there's any input on that sort of thing.
Yeah, so from, I guess, that perspective, the vast majority of content creators on OnlyFans are women. They're obviously the one that make the most type of money. My personal experience with men at the agency is, unless they were in a relationship with someone or doing gay pornography, they didn't necessarily make as much money. And so we didn't really see that element, to be honest. Our main focus was more so women. But of course, young men are extremely targeted for this type of content. They're the biggest, 90% of subscribers 98.7% of subscribers on OnlyFans are males. So of course, that's the target demographic. But from a content creator side, I didn't really have much exposure to men or to, I guess, non-heterosexual men.
Yeah, cool. Nice. Thank you very much. And really, I really think you have a worthwhile ministry. I think it's something that needs to be dealt with in a massive way. So thank you for stepping up and being vulnerable in your position. That's good.
Good on you, Glenn. Well, it seems like everyone wants to ring you up and encourage you today, Victoria. But, Glenn, we really appreciate you calling it. Out of interest, how long have you been a Vision listener for?
Since you became digital in Sydney, I've been listening and driving with Vision. But I came out of a drug and you may have heard the story before, but I came out of drug and alcohol rehab 12 months ago. And I used to use Word for the Day and V180 daily devotions to run a Bible study in the rehab.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So good, Glenn. Well, we love hearing from you, brother. And, you keep in touch with us and keep calling us, okay?
No worries. Thank you very much.
God bless you, mate.
You too. See ya.
Now, Victoria, we've got another caller, and her name is Katie, and she's calling in from Victoria. Katie, are you there?
Yeah.
Hi,
Andrew and Victoria. How are you?
Great. Have you got a question or a comment for Victoria today?
A couple of comments. I want to say thank you to Victoria for what she's doing. And just because I actually have some experience with this background, like this is actually a passion in my heart, to be honest, what she's doing and trying to wake people up. I tried to protect my girls and, their friends would actually buy them a phone for a present. Like I was homeschooling, a couple of my kids. But what you talked about soft influence and, our generation, I'm 54 years old, but my father used to take me to nightclubs on school nights and get me to dance with grown men when I was a teenager. So I actually went down a path of prostitution. And so what I actually want to say to anybody that's listening, and I think it's really important, like when you're speaking to people, because I've still got the enemy to this day telling me that I'm that person I was 28 years ago, right? And the reason I'm saying that is it's really important for people to know that there's grace for them, that the second they turn to Jesus, the second they get out of that, and even if they're still battling with stuff, that he loves them. Our generation, like I'm not saying I did this, I probably did it at times, but a lot of people, we sat our kids in front of computers. I tried not to do that. But, even Christian parents, and in some ways we're responsible now for what has happened to that generation. Does that make any sense? So I just want to say that these girls, people that have been down that path, they need to know, like, it's brilliant what you're doing. Like, it's honestly amazing. And, I would love to do something to help, to be honest, if there was something I could do. I'm not sure what I could. But, yeah, I'm actually doing Celebrate Recovery. I'm still working through my stuff, which is actually a Christian organisation that helps people work with all kinds of different issues, similar to Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's Christian and it's not just for, one thing. But, it's just so important that they know how much God loves them. And I know that's what you're trying to do. So I want to commend you for what you're doing. And just, say to parents, we need to wake up. I mean, my kids are growing up and they're moved out now, and thankfully my girls seem to have not turned out, not gone down the same path that I went down, not that they haven't had their struggles, but and for young men too, of course. It's so important that they know how to treat women, and also to respect themselves, because it is a sexualized culture. So, So I was actually led down that path by a friend, and that's where influences are so important as well.
Yeah. Victoria, have you got a response for Katie today?
Yeah, Katie, I just want to say again, thank you for calling in your kind words and your vulnerability. And I couldn't agree more. I say to people and parents that if you're not educating your child, something or someone will, and it won't be a positive. So one of the biggest things that impacted me was hearing, again, it's a part of my testimony, but that Christians have failed. They're supposed to be the salt and the light of this world. And what have we done to the next generation? And so I think there is a level of accountability that parents do have to take, and you have to have those awkward conversations. You need to be discussing these things with your children. Take an interest in what's happening on social media, what's happening on their phones. And again, if you do catch your child watching porn, or if they do come to you and say, I'm struggling with this, or whatever capacity it is, to not shame them, to not freak out. But we can't bury our heads in the sand and think this is a secular problem. It's actually not. It's a human problem. And I think if every single home took the responsibility to educate on healthy sexual discipleship, we would see a massive, massive change in the reality of what's happening for our youth.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
And also, Katie, just want to reiterate what Victoria said earlier, that she's got an Instagram account. It's victoria.sinis, Sinis. And I think, is that the best way, Victoria, for people to message you? Just send you a message on Instagram?
Yep, absolutely.
Send her a message, and as Victoria gets busier, I'm sure she'll need some admin support or something. You never know. You might be able to help her out one day, Katie, with
I'd
what
love
seems
to be able
like...
to help do something.
Well, it sounds like God's really raising her up and really giving her a legitimate ministry in Australia here. So who knows, maybe one day she will need some help. But we really want to thank you so much for calling us on 2020 today and being so vulnerable as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Good on you, Katie.
Thanks. Bye.
And Victoria, we may get to your story in depth. We just got one more caller who's waiting, and her name is Jill, and she's calling from Tassie. Are you there, Jill?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to ask a question or make a comment today?
I just want to thank Vision Radio, because I've been listening for about 5 years now, and it keeps me close to Jesus, and it's just so wonderful.
Oh, that's nice.
And,
have you been listening to Victoria today?
Yes, I have, and I want to praise God that she's become a Christian, because she's going to do amazing work. I feel in my spirit that she's going to do a lot of good things.
Oh, that's nice. Do you think she should go to Tasmania one day as well?
Oh, yes, she should. Yeah, we need her in Tassie too.
Yeah, amen.
I've got two. I'm a grandma, so, and I've got two grandsons who live in Melbourne. I come from generations of girls, and I've got two boys, grandsons, and I just want them to know, to respect women and young girls, and to know, that there is pure love, and that can be for them if they follow Jesus.
Yeah. Amen. Very well put, Jill. We want to thank you so much for calling us all the way from Tassie today.
And I just want to say, I think it starts from childhood, because if a dad doesn't show his daughter love, or that she's important, that can make them go on the wrong road when they're older.
So true. And Victoria, have you got a response for Jill today before she goes?
I just couldn't agree more. I love that you said that true love exists, and it's if you follow Jesus, and it's yes, absolutely. And I think that these are the things we need to encourage, that a life lived with the Lord isn't restrictive, but it's actually the freedom that everyone deserves. So I just love that. So thank you again for your kind words, and I just really appreciate it.
Yeah. May God bless you, Victoria.
Thank you.
Good on you, Jill.
Bye.
Thanks for the call. And we've got another call who's just snuck through as well, and it's James. And by the way, the call lines are open for another 10 minutes. That's 1-800-316-316. That's 1-800-316-316. And we want to hear your comments, your thoughts today. But James is calling us from Victoria as well. James, welcome.
Yes, g'day. Mine's a bit of a testimony, and it's only just a recent revelation, and I'm doing my best to walk in it. But we know that Satan was kicked out of heaven because he was wanton. And the Bible tells us that contentment, godliness with contentment is great gain. The Lord's been revealing to me that I've never known my father. I never had a name written on the birth certificate. All my life I've wanted to know who my father is. I've wanted to go to the area where I was born and find out more details from my family about any indication of who my father may be.
Yeah.
But what I've discovered, my sister never wanted to meet her father. She's never desired it, but she's met her father. She's only just turned 60, but just prior to that, she met her real father. After the war, a lot of families were broken up, all kinds of depression and things going on. So families got disrupted. My mother died early. I never found out the identity. But God made me realise that just as Satan was wanton, I have been wanting to know who my father is. But he made me realise that's not the way to go. Godliness with contentment is great gain.
That's it, mate. But can I ask you a question, though? James, have you got a specific question or comment for Victoria today about what she's been talking about?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that godliness and contentment, I know the radio shares it, that for the young people, they might not be hearing it in a way that I'm explaining it to them today, because wantonness comes through those porn sites. Wantonness comes through trying to get on the dating sites. Wantonness comes through those things that can distract us from the real goal of our life's walk with God, which is contentment. God, we can find contentment in God.
Mate, I think you've nailed it. Did you hear that, Victoria? I just think it's so true, isn't it? The people are getting on these sites and trying all these weird things, aren't they? Because they're just not happy on the inside. Would you agree, Victoria?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And James, I'm so glad that your sister has reconnected with your real dad there. But I just want to thank you so much. I know I'm rushing a little bit here, James, but we've got other people calling in all the time. But brother, honestly, I hear your heart, mate. And what you're saying is 100% true. The whole world needs that contentment. We just need to keep praying for revival in Australia. More and more people need to meet Jesus and find that contentment and just find that peace so that they don't do all these crazy things.
Yes, God said to me, like a pair of scissors. A pair of scissors can be sloppy and can be slack and they can't cut the paper properly. But if we hone our skills in contentment, we can get our scissors cutting like they should. It's a little parable that he gave me. If we have sharpened scissors, we can do the job properly.
Nailed it, James. Nailed it. Thank you so much for the call today. And you're always welcome to call us anytime here on Vision on 1-800-316-316. Victoria, the callers just keep coming through here. We've got another one now, and it is Luciana. Luciana is also from Melbourne, from your city there, Victoria. Are you there, Luciana?
Yes, good morning. God bless you.
Thank you. Have you got a comment or a question today?
Both. I would like to ask Victoria, first of all, thank you for coming on board and being so transparent, because it is a very delicate subject when especially talking about sexuality. And because I lead a small ladies group, and in order for the parents or grandparents to understand what is going on, you needed to go to the source and educate them. In Italian culture, from the very traditional one, is not really much spoken about it because it's ignorant, I believe, and that's what Jesus said, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And my question is, do you have like some material that you could email and I could teach to my ladies group and make them aware of what is going on? Because some of us, the way we grew up, sexuality was a taboo subject. So I can see that teenagers spend more and more time on their phones, and unfortunately in our culture we were not educated with technology, including me. I came here when I was 15, but most of my life has been spending working and looking after my children, now my grandchildren.
Oh,
so
wow.
is,
Luciana, I just want to just hold you and ask Victoria. Victoria, there was a question asked, said, have you got any materials that you can send out to church groups and women's groups that people can actually start teaching some of this stuff?
Yeah, so this is what I do. I actually go into churches to educate and equip people. I've gone into multiple churches actually, and conservative churches as well, where this stuff is a taboo topic. And by the end of the session, you know, older women are understanding the importance of this. So yeah, we literally do that. So if you, again, would want to message me, we can discuss me coming in, and through that is how I can help equip you guys in the long term.
Now, I'm guessing, Luciana, are you on Instagram?
Yes, I am. I am on WhatsApp as well, because I speak two languages, Italian and English.
Oh, I thought you might be Italian. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I almost said grazie to you before, but I thought, oh, maybe she's Spanish. I couldn't tell. So, yeah, grazie.
No. And I found that the majority of the ladies can read the English language, but I have to break it down and explain it to them in their own language. That's the way that they will understand it more.
Yeah, wonderful. So what you need to do is you need to go onto Instagram and you need to search for Victoria.Sinis, Sinis, and message her on Instagram, and she can perhaps send some materials out to you or send you a link or something to something on her webpage so that you can use those materials to run that Bible study. So it sounds like you're making a real difference, Luciana, in the lives of other women.
Well, the thing is, I understand the culture because when I came here at the age of 15, I already knew my Italian heritage and everything. So coming back here to Australia, I had to learn the Aussie culture. So I can see that there is a kind of a difference because the traditional Italian culture do not talk about sexuality and don't have the sufficient clues about technology because we came as migrants. And being migrants, there was no time or resources to be educated.
Yeah.
So technology, it's a new kettle of fish for us, including me. And to be questioning even grandchildren or children or what is going on. And so therefore we can pick up the early intervention before they go so deep and they alienate themselves so much that the shame and that what Victoria was talking about it, and yourself as well, you know, when they get so much in deep that they are afraid of failing the parents or disappoint them.
Yeah.
And that's why they hide. And that's where the problem is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Victoria, I always want to ask, have you got any kind words for Luciana today, the kind Italian Australian grandma?
Oh, I do. I just want to hug her. It's beautiful the way that you care. And this is what we need. We need all generations to come together to be able to tackle this beast of an industry. And again, it comes from every single person doing what they can to be able to bring in a new culture. So I just want to thank you for that and thank you for your heart and honor that within you. Yeah.
Yeah, Luciana.
No, thank you. Thank you. And as I said, it's a real blessing that you're stepping up and you shine the light in the darkness because the more dark it is and the deeper, far away young people stay away from the gospel when they are so much loved.
Yeah, absolutely. Luciana, I could listen to you all day. You've got so many stories I can tell, and you've just got such a rich history, and I want to thank you so much for calling. But we do have one more caller who wants to talk to Victoria as well. So I want to say ciao, Luciana. Grazie for calling.
Bye-bye. God bless
God bless you, and hopefully we'll hear from you again. You're welcome anytime. Call us anytime.
Thank you kindly. God bless you. Bye, Victoria.
Bye.
And thank you so much. We've got one more caller in the queue we've got time for before we finish up today. And we didn't get to your story, Victoria, so we've got to get back again now to tell us the full story another time. But we've got David calling from New South Wales. David, welcome.
Good morning. Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Victoria. I just at least firstly want to say congratulations. Bless your heart. You know, not only, of course, reaching out and saving women, but you're saving a lot of men through this as well. And look, the catalyst for my call, you mentioned earlier about a young woman that you'd reached out to, and you know, it was something about that, you know, she wanted to be able to go to parties and kiss a boy without having sex. And, you know, I just wanted to say that, you know, we're called to so much higher level of purity, and, you know, that's the wrong mindset. I just, you know, especially if there's any young people listening, you know, picture yourself if you're at a party and you know, God has a very precious and special future husband or wife for you. If you're at a party and, you know, would you like to be standing there watching them kiss someone else? Of course you wouldn't. That would be abhorrent. And so to think of that. And the other thing I want to say for parents is that I went to a seminar once, and one of the speakers asked this question. He said, why is it that out of all the nations, all the races on the face of the earth, there's one race, there's one nation they are known to be successful in many areas? Finance, you know, you'll find them in the top jobs. Well, of course, it's God's chosen, that chosen race, the Jewish people. And why? Because God gave them the blueprints for living a successful life. And one of those blueprints is betrothal. To me, that is the safest, it's the best way of finding a mate for your son or daughter. There's if you look for God's Plan for Finding a Mate by Dr. S.M. Davis, you'll find some wonderful information there to help you in that. And
absolutely. But David, I'm going to have to cut you off there because, David, you're actually calling from Gundagai, which is a very famous part of Australia, along the road to Gundagai. We all know the song. But I want to thank you so much for calling. We've got to move on the show today. But Victoria, have you got a final greeting or a goodbye for David from Gundagai today?
Yeah, I just thank you so much for calling in. And yeah, I really appreciate your perspective and your contribution to the conversation.
Thank you.
David, we have to run, mate. Always welcome to call again. Try and call us a little bit earlier in the day next time because the show has to move on now. But God bless you, mate, and all the best for you and your family in Gundagai, okay?
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, Victoria, time certainly flies when you're having fun. I've had a lot of fun today, but it's a good, clean Christian fun, and it's just been so good to hear your heart and also the heart of some of these callers. Obviously, what you've talked about today has really resonated with people. And let's just reiterate, if anyone's just joined in now and started listening recently, how do people get in touch with you, Victoria? How do they reach out to you?
Yeah, again, the best way is through Instagram, so victoria.sinis, and then through there you'll see my website, and that's where you can email me as well. So that's my preferred ways of contact.
Yeah, and Sinis is spelled S-I-N-I-S.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, Victoria, I want to thank you so much. This is not the last time you'll be on 2020 because we didn't even get to your story. We'll get to that next time. But I want to thank you for joining us all the way from Melbourne today and just sharing some really, really important information with some of the parents and some of our listeners. I believe even one of my daughters was listening today. Her name's Bella. If you want to give Bella a sing out now.
Oh, hi, Bella. Thanks for listening, sweet girl. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new.
There you go, Victoria. Thank you for that. And we look forward to welcoming you back to 2020 in the not-too-distant future. God bless, Victoria.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.